This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them E's.
And Mark, we're back. We're back. Like we've been saying it for weeks. Oh, we're gonna have football back. Mm-hmm. We finally were able to watch.
We really
games.
have real football.
We were able to watch games.
It's back.
What'd you think from week one?
Week one was a lot of fun. It was great. I really enjoyed just how many games
We're close.
were close and just exciting throughout. You know, it was fun. I never had a moment where I was like, oh, maybe I'll go do this other thing really quick. Nope. I was on the couch. I was just watching football all day. It was amazing. This is exactly what you want. This is what we've been waiting for.
Well, and I mean, like, just to name a few, you had the Cowboy-Giant game was wire to wire the whole way. Lions-Colts in the afternoon. The 2-point conversion. Jack Del Rio kind of taking his testicles, putting it in the old wheelbarrow from South Park, and just marching down Main Street there going, hey, you know what? I got these big testicles going for two. And that was just to name a few. I mean, Jameis Winston had a huge game for the Buccaneers, which surprised me. I didn't think that they were going to play, not play as hot as they did, but Atlanta kind of not laying an egg, but I thought they'd come out
Jameis lit it up. He did. He had no problems. He did not care. He just went out there and said, yeah, you guys want four tutties? I'll throw 4 tutties.
And that defense wasn't playing Tampa 2.
Yeah.
Wasn't playing that lovey Tampa 2. But we're going to look at some of the games from not necessarily this week, but taking this week, looking into next week. The 3 we're going to focus on for you guys, we've got Bengals Steelers, we got Colts Broncos, we got Eagles Bears. Those are the 3 that we're going to look at. And let's start with the North. And I mean, this is a matchup looking into week 2 that is completely 2 different sides of the table. The Bengals, they didn't impress me. A 1-point win over the Jets, and I know what you're saying. Well, Ricky, the Jets are a good team, but I look at Andy Dalton, and he's got 366 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. He was sacked 7 times. Then you look at Big Ben and the Steelers. They lit it up.
Yeah, unfortunately, to be honest, because fantasy football, Mark, was not very happy about this whole Big Ben throwing 3 touchdowns, and 2 of them going to Antonio Brown.
Dave had Big Ben and Antonio Brown.
And then I go to sleep, you know, and I'm like, I can admit that I didn't watch the LA Rams play.
Who did?
Yeah, who wanted to?
If you did, you're lying.
It's dumb for the NFL. I don't understand. I know that they're in LA, but it's dumb for
put some better teams on.
Not even that. Just don't put a game at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. There's no reason for that. No one's gonna stay up and watch that. Anyways, so yeah, it's just I go to sleep and I'm like, I got this. You know, Todd Gurley, he's gonna get 6 points. That's all he needs. All he needs to do is get me 6 points, and I got this game locked up. He got me like 5 or 4. No, he got me 4, I think is what it was. You can only get me 4 points. I drafted you as my main running back. Mm-hmm. All right. It bugs me. It bugs me. I'm still not over it. This is what fantasy football does to you. But this Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a reason why I picked them to go and win the Super Bowl this year, and that's exactly what it is. It's the D'Angelo Williams doesn't care that Bell's not here. He doesn't care about that. He's going to go out there and get 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big Ben can throw it all day against anybody. Antonio Brown's one of the best wide receivers out there. They've got everything they need. You know, and I'm not trying to criticize the Bengals too much. The Bengals, they won their game. You know, they won only by a point against a good team, the New York Jets. But it's just not a super impressive win. I mean, Andy Dalton, sure, he throws a touchdown, but he throws an interception. He threw for a lot of yards. I'll give him that, and he was pretty accurate, you know, throughout the day. He definitely was very accurate, really. But they couldn't get much going with the run game. You know, A.J. Green, of course, he's going to light it up. And Brandon LaFell did well.
But he was the only one that lit it up.
Well, Brandon LaFell did pretty good, too. But it's just
but
like,
only like
it doesn't match up with what the Steelers have.
He did well enough for 4 catches. Like, if you look at it, we only had 4 catches. Oh, but he had 91 yards from those 4 catches. Fine. You can say that was a good job. But to me, when I see, of course, you're going to throw the ball towards A.J. Green more. And there was a tweet, I can't remember who it was from I want to say it was NFL Network, kind of making fun of Revis Island, saying that, well, A.J. Green's just sitting there having Mai Tais on Revis Island all day. I know you're going to go to A.J. Green, but I'm kind of looking at this game, and I look at the Bengals, and I go, okay, maybe Sanu and Jones, maybe losing them is bigger than we all thought it would. When all the Bengal fans were like, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we lost them. We're going to be fine. Maybe you're not going to be as fine as you once thought.
Yeah. I mean, and, having Hugh Jackson no longer there for offense coordinator, I've been saying that I thought that was one of the big things, one of the big issues. And I know people don't like that I still am carrying over some of that bad team energy, that bad vibe that they had from the playoffs. People aren't happy that I'm still carrying that over.
It's still important.
But yeah, it showed a bad sign for the team. It just showed a team that was not in a good mental state, essentially. I'm sure somebody's mad at me for saying that. But it's just when you have all these things building up with the Bengals and they still can't win a playoff game, I can't have that much confidence in this team. Like I said, this is still a team that can easily go to the playoffs, but wild card. When it comes to the team that's, going to win the AFC
Steelers.
North, it's the Steelers. It's their division to lose.
Well, I like to make this joke whenever we talk about a North division, but right now the Steelers look like King of the North. King of the North.
Pretty much, because like we've been saying, Big Ben, Antonio Brown, D'Angelo Williams, once we get Le'Veon Bell, how do you stop this offense?
And
what do you do?
And I mean, after week 1, unless there's injury, of course, to the Steeler team, I kind of wanted to, after watching this week, I know I can't because the predictions are now final. We've actually played regular season games, but I kind of wanted to say, well, man, I probably should have picked the Steelers to be a first-round bye team instead of the Colts, because the Colts didn't look good. We're going to get to them a little bit later in the podcast, but I looked at this week and I went, man, I could definitely see a Steeler-Patriot AFC title game. I know I had it in the divisional round. I could totally see that as a playoff game, more so now as a AFC title game, winner going to the Super Bowl. And after, I know it's only week 1, but those are the top 2 teams in the AFC that I look at. Patriots look good with Jimmy Garoppolo. Steelers looked great with that physical mentality that Mike Tomlin likes them to play with. Big Ben looked better than ever. Antonio Brown looked solid. They even got a top performance out of rookie Eli Rogers. They just looked like a great team. They looked like a Super Bowl built team. I almost wanted to say a super built team, which is almost the same thing.
Basically the same thing. Yeah, they're just, they just have all the pieces that you need right now. And I think that the Bengals can put up a fight, of course. They can definitely put up a fight. But you kind of look at the complete teams, and really the Pittsburgh Steelers have that complete team mentality right now. And A.J. Green's still going to get a shit ton of yards. Andy Dalton's still going to throw some touchdowns on this team. But I don't think that the Bengals have enough parts to match up with what the Steelers can throw out there. And this is the home game coming up. So I think that that's going to...
Home game for the Steelers, that is.
Yeah, home game for the Steelers. So I think that carries some weight to when they don't have Le'Veon Bell. They're going to perform a little bit better at home, so that way when they have that road game, when they have to go to Cincinnati, having Bell out there, it's just one more piece to the puzzle. It just makes it that much tougher to where it's hard you look on paper, it's hard for the Pittsburgh Steelers to sweep the Bengals, but hey, I think they can do it. Well, I'm going all in on these Steelers. I was already all in before the season even started, but I'm all in on this team.
I'm going to ask you this, and this has to do more about that Steeler-Redskin game that we saw last night as we're recording this podcast on Tuesday. Why wasn't Josh Norman on Antonio Brown? I feel like that's the big question we are all asking ourselves today. Why wasn't Josh Norman on Antonio Brown? Your number one corner should be on the number one target on the other team.
Isn't this the criticism that we have, or that Patrick Peterson had of Richard Sherman, saying, hey, you stay on your side of the field. You're not the best corner. I'm the best corner because I take the number one receiver no matter what.
Well, and this wasn't, and the only thing I'm coming out and I have to defend Josh Norman with that, this wasn't a Josh Norman thing. It was the coaching staff saying, that's your side of the field.
Yeah.
Stay there. I think you're stupid.
Well, I don't think Richard Sherman is saying, no, I don't want wide receiver one. This is my side of the field here.
But the only difference is that LOB defense is so stacked.
Yeah.
The guy that the Redskins put on Antonio Brown couldn't hang with him. Josh Norman needs to be on the number one wide receiver no matter what side of the field he's on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the mentality. I don't know if it's a thought that, it just so happens that this is what he's been practicing and this is where we got him in the playbook. It just happens that Antonio Brown's not there. Or if it's a situation of them saying, well, you know what? At least we know he'll shut everybody else down. And Antonio Brown
Doesn't matter if the ball's not getting thrown there. And I know you're probably saying, well, Ricky, that's the point. So that they don't throw the ball there. But why would you want them to throw the ball at their number one target? Wouldn't you want it the other way around?
Yeah. I don't understand. But at the same time, I think that Josh Norman, like we said, long time ago, and if Redskins fans were mad at us, I don't think that Josh Norman was like the best fit for the Washington Redskins. And I don't think the Washington Redskins were the best fit for him. And I think this kind of shows it of not necessarily that they don't know what to do with him, but you just have this situation where you're saying, here is the one guy that could possibly stop Antonio Brown, and you didn't use him properly. So what are you doing? Why would you let yourself make that mistake? Why would you pay this money if you're not going to use the guy? Blah, blah, blah. Hindsight, of course, but at the same time, you just think this was an obvious one. This was 2 + 2 = 4. There's no doubt in anyone's mind this is how it should have been. But hey, you know what, though? I'm willing to say it. Antonio Brown, he would have beat Josh Norman. They would have still won.
Before we move on, is there anything Bengals Steelers that we didn't touch you think we should hit?
No, I think that it'll be a tough matchup. I don't want to... I know we're kind of making it seem like we're just giving the Steelers an absolute blowout right now.
With this Bengal team,
that's it.
I just think that it's going to, are they going to be a good team? Yes. But don't be surprised if you guys are both 10-6, Steelers get in, you guys don't.
Steelers aren't going to be 10-6, that's for sure. They're going to be better than that. But I just think that the thing for the Bengals is the Bengals are always the Bengals. They are always a good team. They get to the playoffs, but they're not good enough. And I say it every damn year, but when is enough enough? When are you sick of just being good enough?
And when do they get rid of Marvin Jones?
Yeah, when do you want to move on to
or Marvin Lewis? Marvin Jones is gone. I'm talking Marvin Lewis, the head coach.
When do you want to move on? When do you want to do something else? When do you want some success? Because you got a damn good team out there, and you can't get enough out of them. I'm sure somebody out there can get something out of them.
Okay, and before we move on, Bengal fans, Steeler fans, want to hear from you guys. Let us know down below what you think of this upcoming game. Is this division, are we crowning the Steelers too soon after a Week 1 win? And the Bengals won too, so don't forget that. Let us know down below in the comment section.